Welcome back to the Successful Hairstylist podcast. I'm Ren Lopa, and today we are diving into something that is such a necessity in business, but is often overlooked and skipped in terms of episodes, education, and training. So don't skip this one. It is going to be exactly what you need to hear to hopefully get fully booked by the end of 2025. Let's go. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about my weird formula for consistency. Now, today's training is for you. If you spend hours, days, months thinking and avoiding taking action on a task, that will literally take you 5 minutes. This is also for you if you know what you're supposed to be doing, right? You're a pro at consuming education. You follow all the main educators, you listen to all the podcasts, you have journals and journals filled with ideas and notes. You are an expert in how and what you're supposed to do to show up for your business. But no matter how hard you try, you cannot follow through on actually implementing the education that you learn. And then this is also for you if you feel like you're super busy all day, but you don't feel like you're actually making progress with your priorities or goals, okay? So we're going to dive into all of this. I want us to approach conversations about action and consistency with a lot of compassion for ourselves. And at the same time, I do feel like we are very generous at giving ourselves a break. Okay. Like we're pretty good at letting ourselves off the hook. And I want to be loving with you today. I want you to be loving to yourself, but I also want you and me to hold you a little bit accountable. Okay. Some of this might be uncomfortable, but I promise you, you're going to walk away knowing how to get on track, how to build your own momentum, how to inspire yourself, and ultimately how to break through this level of business you're at. When I was behind the chair, for some reason, the 5,000 a month sales mark was a huge plateau mark for me. It was almost like it was enough money to feel kind of content and comfortable with what was coming in, but it wasn't where I wanted to be at all. And I really struggled to break past this plateau. So, if that's where you are, I want you to know that these tips and ideas are really going to help you get over that hump and get into the next phase of your business, even if you kind of have to drag yourself by the collar out there, okay? We can do this. And I want you to know you can do it 100%. You can. But you might have to grow a little bit in order to do it. You might have to become the version of you that can do it. All right, so where I want to start is by sharing this psychological principle with you called the overconfidence effect, okay? And this impacts all human beings. So it's not just you, it's not personal. You haven't done anything to have this. This is just like a basic psychological instinct that we have. And here's what it is: the overconfidence effect is a well established bias in which a person's subjective confidence in his or her judgments is reliably greater than the objective accuracy of those judgments, especially when confidence is relatively high. So, overconfidence is an example of a miscalibration of subjective probabilities. Okay. Now, all of that probably is like, what does that mean? Like, what are you saying? And so, here's what it is: because of the overconfidence effect, it is very normal for us to way overestimate our effort, which of course then leads us to be super dissatisfied when the results aren't coming in. So, I will give you guys a little bit of an example of this. So, I have a luxury client method. As you guys know, it is an online education platform. But before it became an online education platform, I ran luxury client method one-on-one and in a group setting for many years. Now, what I always noticed is that my students would think very confidently that they were showing up and doing all of these things. But once I actually gave them the metrics to track their efforts, okay? they would suddenly realize, they would think, Ren, for example, I messaged every person who started following me, okay? I must have sent out a million messages. And it's like, oh, that's amazing. Like, pull up your Instagram inbox and let's take a look at those messages. Like, I'll help you troubleshoot, the verbiage, or let's just take a look at what's going on. They would open their inbox 100% confident. I don't believe that they were lying or misrepresenting themselves. They would open their inbox and they maybe sent out 2 that week. Okay. We don't always, because of the overconfidence effect, see the true way things are, okay, when it comes to ourselves. And so, why this is important is that in order to open our eyes to our own behavior, we need to set up some methods to hold ourselves accountable and actually have our eyes on what is truly going on and what our effort really is. So here are 3 ways to do that, okay? 3 ways. This is my weird 3-step formula for focus and consistency, all right? So number 1, first thing that we need is clarity, okay? Knowing what we need to be doing that will actually impact our business and our bottom line, or getting us sales or bringing in new clients, that is vital. How can we spend our time wisely if we don't even know what wisely means? And we don't even know what those few things are that actually impact those things. Okay, so that's the first thing. We need clarity. And I'm going to tell you guys, the list on this is generally just 3 things: grow an audience, nurture an audience, and sell to your audience. Okay, it's those 3 things, right? For the top end of your funnel, which is where we are going to generate all the new clients and be able to actually build our business. Okay, so that's number 1, is clarity. We need to know what is actually going to help us move forward and hit those goals. So then number 2, and this is a big one, okay? Number 2, we have to accept, okay? So this is emotional, this is mental. We have to accept that it's going to be boring and mundane and not very fun to do those 3 things, okay? And what I really want you guys to even write down on a sticky note for yourself is that this kind of affirmation, which is, I can tolerate boredom to reach my goals, right? I can tolerate repetition to meet my goals. I can be resilient in order to reach my goals. So often we just want to go do something that's going to be fun, exciting, creative, cool, like feel good. But you guys, a lot of business stuff, like the true stuff that helps to grow your business, it's not very fun, but it's effective. Okay. And once we are used to doing it and we have it nailed down, we have a system for it, you could even hire those aspects out. Okay. You could have a virtual assistant do them for you, etc. But we have to start the process. It starts with us. And if you're not where you want to be, those aspects of your business are why. Okay. They are the stepping stone that gets you there. Okay, so that's number 2. We have to accept that it's boring, mundane, and not the funnest thing we will do all day. Tip number 3, we have to be willing and give ourselves permission to prioritize the priorities, okay? There are going to be things on your list that maybe you've been doing up until now that will need to get pushed to the side because you have to make time and prioritize those essential activities that grow your business. So here's an example of how you can start to do this, okay? So of course, listing and writing things out is so important. Scheduling them in your calendar can be a great way to help. Showing up early to your suite or staying late can be a great way to get extra things done, as long as you don't get distracted once you're there and then just start scrolling on TikTok and be like, it doesn't really matter, I'll get it done later, right? You can also look for those pockets of focus time. So, for example, sitting in your car, right? Or when you're driving by yourself, It's also important for you to have physical boundaries. So if you struggle with getting things done and making time for yourself when you have, your pets, your family, your spouse, maybe your siblings all around you at all times, get used to shutting doors, communicating that you're going to take 30 minutes to yourself, okay? Having that physical space, the physical boundary away. Again, that's why I like the idea of maybe getting to work early or staying a little bit late, because you have that physical space that is just for you. And then I want you to get in the habit of doing your priorities first. There's a book called Eat the Frog, and highly recommend it if you are a reader and you're looking for a new read. So it's called Eat the Frog. And the principle of eating the frog is that your task that you are dreading the most, but is the highest priority, is the one that you should just get done first. Because what happens is when we're dreading it and we're actively avoiding it, it is taking up space that we actually need in order to show up in our business and manage more things. So if you get in the habit of ripping off that band-aid first thing in the morning or the first part of your shift, right? You get there early, you just get it done, you eat the frog, then it's done. And suddenly you're free, right? You are free to relax in your business. You're free to service your clients without being like, I didn't do any of my business and marketing stuff. You can just enjoy your time with them and giving them a great experience. You free yourself in your personal life because you know, like, hey, I got everything done. I get to relax or I get to be present. You're not like half focused on like your husband's work story. You're fully present and able to focus and be there. The other book that I highly recommend is called Indistractable, and it's specifically about how our society right now has really, it's a society of distractions. It is literally built that way right now, and how it's so important that we fight that if we have these big goals and dreams that we want to accomplish, right? If we're not actively awake in our bodies and like living in our bodies and being present, it is so easy to go entire days completely distracted and entertained and all of that, like not actually doing anything that matters for us. And while, yeah, have a rotting day and like do that, I don't care. At least make sure everything is handled in your business so that in 6 months from now, you are not sitting in the same place. Like that is what this is all about, is being able to reach your goals easier with less mental energy and with more fulfillment. I know that you started your business because you had a dream, and I believe you can reach those goals. Like, it's easy for us to even talk ourselves out of our big goals when we realize how hard it's going to be. But no, like, you've got this. You just need more focus and you just need more consistency. Okay, I wanted to end this with a couple quotes from Alex Hormozi, who has documented his entire journey from owning a gym to now owning like $1 billion corporation. And this is what he says: success is hard because it requires consistency, not complexity. Complexity can be fun. We're learning, we're juggling all of these balls. Like, we love that. It's mentally stimulating. But success is hard because it's consistency. And a lot of times, just like I said, the things that grow your business are simple and repetitive and mundane. The next one: we don't rise to the standards we have when others are watching. We fall to the standards we have when no one is. And as an independent hairstylist, I think this is just so important because you don't have a manager who's going to be like, hey, don't forget this. Like, you are your manager and your boss and your hairstylist and your accountant. Like, you're all the things. And so it is up to you in the best ways and in the most challenging ways. Okay, and then lastly, doing the basics with ruthless consistency and precision is what makes you advanced, not complexity. And I guarantee you that if you really think about like color formulation or hair cutting or blowouts, anything with our technical craft, you'll see the truth in that. It's mastering those foundations and being consistent with the basics that lead to being the best, that lead to being the expert in the field. So I hope that this has totally inspired you and given you the confidence to start fresh this week. Prioritize your priorities, have boundaries around your time, and eat the damn frog. To learn more about consistency and getting lots of shit done, watch this next. I'll see you next week.